Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Teveron here, and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week, we are going to be playing a deck that I've had a lot of fun and success with over the last little bit, which is a Sultai build. Sultai, if you're not familiar with the term, is blue, black, and green, and this deck seeks to abuse Ingest and the processing mechanic that we have seen in Battle for Zendikar. Ingest is, I'll just show you Mist Intruder here and read the text off the card itself. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. This is important because we are playing processor cards in here, which want you to take a card that your opponent owns from exile and put it into the graveyard to get an additional effect from the creature or spell that you have cast. You could also maybe argue that this deck should be called Super Friends. I've named it Sultai Ingest, but there are a lot of planeswalkers in the deck, as you will see when we go through the list here. As always, I will put this deck list in written form in the description below if you would like an easier to access reference to it, but let's go ahead and see what we're playing with. We are running 2 Dispels, 1 blue counter target instant spell. We are running 1 Jace, Vryn's Prodigy. Go ahead and show you the flip side there. If you'd like to read any of these cards, feel free to pause the video and do that. We are running 4 Mist Intruders, which is, as we showed before, an ingest outlet. It's also a 2-drop, which is nice to get it online fast, and has evasion in the form of flying. We're running 2 Horribly Awry to counter our opponent's early aggro if possible. We're running 3 Benthic Infiltrators, which is also an ingest outlet. It cannot be blocked, so it has pretty much the best form of evasion that you can have. And I'm only running 3 of these. I would like to be running 4, but to be honest, I couldn't really fit the 4th one in the deck without losing something else that I was more keen on having. Important to notice, I forgot to mention this, it does exile as well, so it is theoretically an ingest card. We are running 1 Liliana, Heretical Healer. Go ahead and show you her Planeswalker side there. We're running 2 Wasteland Stranglers, which is a good board control card. It is a processor, and if you play it and put a card an opponent owns from exile into that player's graveyard, you can choose to give a creature -3/-3 until end of turn. This is important because it can kill indestructible creatures if you can take their toughness to 0 or less. We're running 1 Nissa Vastwood Seer. Go ahead and show you her Planeswalker side there. She is one of the best card advantage Planeswalkers in the set. We're running 2 Scatter to the Winds as hard counters. The Awaken is occasionally important as well. We're running 4 Spell Shrivel, which also exiles. Exile is super important to this deck because of our processor cards. We're running 3 Ulamog's Nullifier. This guy is really good in this deck. He is flash, which means you can cast him whenever you could cast an instant. He is flying, so he has evasion as well. Plus, he's a processor. And what his ability is when he enters the battlefield, you may put 2 cards from your opponent's own from exile into their owner's graveyard, so he takes 2 instead of 1. But if you do, counter target spell. So this brings our total of absolute hard counters up to 5 in this deck, as well as being a threat and board presence that can attack and block. We are running 2 From Beyond, because as you will see, we are also running a few Eldrazi in this deck. The 1/1 tokens, besides being mana acceleration, are also good to keep you alive and stop your opponents from beating your face in. We're running 2 Languish, again as more board control. 1 Kiora, Master of the Depths. She is great to kind of accelerate your mana. She's also card advantage if you choose to use the -2 ability. And her -8 is also not irrelevant. Putting 3/8/8 octopus creature tokens onto the battlefield is pretty good. We are running 2 Blight Herder as another processor. If you're able to do his process ability, which is put 2 cards from your opponent's own from exile into their owner's graveyards. If you do, you get 3 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion tokens. So for 5 mana, you will get a 4/5 and 3 1/1s, which is quite good value. We are also running 1 Ob Nixilis Reignighted, +1, draw a card and lose a life, -3, destroy target creature, and -8, target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. This isn't super relevant, we hardly ever get there, but the -3 and +1 abilities are really good. We're running 1 Oblivion Sower, which is a way to exile cards and also accelerate our mana, as well as being an intimidating presence on the board on offense or defense. We're running 1 Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, which is just basically the best big creature you can be playing in the Magic Duels meta right now. When you cast him, you get to exile 2 target permanents. You get that ability whether or not he is countered. This always happens. He is indestructible, and when he attacks, then defending player exiles the top 20 cards of his or her library. So he doesn't actually have to hit them to win you the game. We're running 1 Desolation Twin, which is basically 10 mana for 2 10/10s. And even if it gets countered, you still get the 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature token. That just as Ulamog happens whether he resolves or not. Our mana base is, well, I just skipped over there. Our mana base is 4 Island, 3 Swamp, 2 Forest, 2 Lumbering Falls, 2 Sunken Hollow, 2 Woodland Cemetery, 2 Drowned Catacombs, 2 Mortuary Mires. Mortuary Mire is a utility land. When it enters the battlefield, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. You don't have to. It's a black mana source as well. But it's nice if somehow one of your big Eldrazi creatures or one of your flip walkers like Jace or Nissa get put into your graveyard to have an opportunity to get them back and use them. Running 1 Golgari Guildgate. We're also running 4 Evolving Wilds, which brings us to a total of 24 land. And without further ado, let's play. Alright, this is a pretty good hand. I will keep this. Kind of wish these Planeswalkers were something a little bit faster to drop, but I'm not going to complain, because we do have a second turn Mist Intruder into a potential third turn Nissa Vastwood Seer. And then fourth turn Kiora. I mean, off the forest that Nissa will get us. Right? Looks like we are probably looking at a Celestia Renowned type of deck here. Would not be surprised if our opponent drops a Plains next turn to make this elf bigger. Oh no. So it's Abzan. Theoretically, I don't see that you would be playing the Sunblade Elf without white in the deck. Though I guess, I mean, you could. It just would be very, very unoptimal. Alright. So let's go ahead and start ingesting. We already have a Blight Herder in our hand, which definitely wants to have cards in exile. Alright, and then I think we will go ahead and play Nissa. Nissa is a good blocker for the moment if she doesn't die, and she also guarantees us being able to play Kiora next turn. What has our opponent got up their sleeve? Alright, there is the Plains, so Sunblade Elf becomes a 2/2. And Strider Harness cannot be equipped yet. I will probably just block here. just prevent some damage and get that creature off the board. We want to very much get into the late game. Okay, now we have a choice of whether to drop Kiora or to hold up Horribly Awry, and I think we're going to play Kiora. First, though, we are going to attack. Then again, if we don't play Kiora, we could go ahead and Mortuary Mire back Nissa and then have Blight Herder next turn, which is also interesting. And I think that's actually the better line of play. Yeah, I'm going to Mortuary Mire back Nissa. And now we are able to hold up Horribly Awry to counter a creature if our opponent has one to cast. And allows us to cast Blight Herder next turn and flood the board. Okay. They could be using this as bait to try to resolve something else, but I'm not certain I'll get another target, so I'm going to go ahead and Horribly Awry this elf here. So is our opponent playing a 4-color elf deck? Looks like it. There's Skyrider Elf. We could have countered that, but we're not certain that there would be another creature played this turn. So, and now we need to choose between Blight Herder and Ob, and I do think we still play Blight Herder. It just is a big threat. Though Ob does take care of this Skyrider Elf. I believe I want to play Blight Herder. Yeah. Yes, we want to use the process ability. We'll go ahead and put Swamp and an Archer back into our opponent's graveyard. And now we will pass the turn. Mist Intruder can't attack here without getting eaten by a Skyrider Elf. I'm wondering if the white in the deck is maybe just a splash for these Converge cards. The Woodland Wanderer, Skyrider Elf, and so on. I will not be blocking. Skip blocking, thank you. I will be dropping Ob Nixilis here and killing Woodland Wanderer. Destroy Woodland Wanderer. Thank you very much. And then we will attack with everything but Mist Intruder. Mist Intruder will hold back to protect Ob Nixilis. I think we'll hold back a Scion as well. Yeah. That way, hopefully, we can keep Ob around to start drawing cards with him. Alright, Shaman of the Pack. This is definitely an elf deck with some additional colors splashed in there. So we're going to be taking 3 life loss from the Shaman. Luckily, it is loss of life and not damage. Otherwise, it could have been redirected to Ob Nixilis. What choices are you making? Strider Harness equip. Okay. So you want your elf to survive? Being blocked, I suppose. Our opponent is down to 1 card in hand. So they aren't attacking Ob Nixilis. Strider Harness is +1/+1 in haste. Since they aren't attacking Ob, I think I'm just going to double block Visionary. There's a chance that we get blown out here by Gideon's Reproach or something like that, but I'm going to take the chance. Doesn't appear that we are going to be. Okay. So we lose our Mist Intruder, keep the Scion because that Visionary didn't have enough power to kill both of them. Now equipping Shaman, okay. Alright, so definitely going to plus Ob Nixilis. Draw a card. Mist Intruder's nice. I'm going to play Sunken Hollow. And then I'm going to attack. Attack with Blight Herder. Most likely will not be blocked. Okay. Then I'm going to cast Kiora. Yeah. Seems right. And we're going to use her plus ability. And we're going to untap Blight Herder and an island. Okay. And now we have a blocker. Ob Nixilis is going to be killed, most likely by the Skyrider elf, but Kiora will stick around. We have a blocker for the elf here, as well as Horribly Awry up. I thought it was better at this point to hold up Horribly Awry than to cast Mist Intruder. Okay, so bye-bye Ob Nixilis. You were a good friend. Sorry to see you go. And our opponent declines to play anything. Okay. So, first I am definitely going to swing. Go ahead, Blight Herder, get in there. Thank you, sir. Then I'm going to play Nissa. Hopefully she resolves, and she does. Yes, I would like to use that ability. Thank you. And we will flip Nissa. We will go ahead and plus Nissa, see what we get. Okay. Then, the question is, do I want to minus or plus Kiora? I think I want to plus her again. We will untap Blight Herder and Swamp. Then we will play Mist Intruder. So that we have a blocker for the Skyrider Elf if we so choose. And I'm not going to play Infiltrator. I'm going to again hold up Horribly Awry. See what our opponent can muster at this junction. Could also be sacking these Scions to play things and still hold up Horribly Awry. I just feel that they're more valuable at this moment than as creatures than mana. Yeah, we'll go ahead and counter that. Again, we could have been baited there, but I want to use the Horribly Awry's, the situational counters like that when possible. There's Gideon's Tactics. We couldn't have countered that anyway. our opponent has left the game there, because if they swing at our planeswalkers, I just let them hit and then kill them on the crackback. And if they swing at me, I block with Scions and still kill them on the crackback. Blight Herder is a great draw. But let's go ahead and use our planeswalkers first. Plus on Nissa. Nullifier is good as well. And I think now we minus Kiora. Okay. So we will choose Liliana, because she's the only creature. And then we will choose Sunken Hollow as our land. Go ahead and play that. And I will play Liliana pre-combat, because she will most likely get to flip. Continue. And swing with Blight Herder. Okay, so the AI chose not to double block, which actually would probably have been the better choice, to go ahead and double block. At this point, I am going to play Blight Herder using Eldrazi tokens. That way we can hold up. Well, it doesn't really matter, because we don't have enough stuff ingested to play both Blight Herder and Ulamog's Nullifier. So, in that case, I think I'll go ahead and play Benthic Infiltrator. We should have the game next turn anyway, especially with Nullifier able to counter whatever our opponent tries to cast here. And, I mean, that's not super relevant, but we will go ahead and counter it because we can. Yes, I would like to. Go ahead and put these two back. And that should be game over. Just wait for the AI to pass and swing in for the win. And I'm not going to block. They take us to 5, but it's just not relevant. With the no cards in hand. Right, continue. And swing out. And I will see you in the next match. I don't think I can keep this hand. There's just a lot that this hand needs to get going. I'm going to mulligan. Yeah, this is worse. Okay, I can handle this. This is okay. So we are going to start with Evolving Wilds, fetching an island. Then we can play Forest and play our Infiltrator. And the 2 basics will allow Sunken Hollow to come into play untapped. And if Mist Intruder survives and gets to ingest something, then we can go ahead and play Wasteland Strangler with its process ability if there's a target. See, I want to get Island, yes. Alright, good top deck there. I will be happy to stop top decking land for just a little while now, though. Go ahead and play Mist Intruder. See where our opponent's fetching here. Swamp, okay. Alright, so here is another elf. which Visionary is not necessarily indicative of an elf deck. Visionary is just good in and of itself. I do think we will probably strangle it though. That will give us a 3/2 on the board and get rid of our opponent's creature. Argument could be made to hold up Horribly Awry as well. I do think that it's better to advance the board state though. So we'll go ahead and play our Sunken Hollow, play our Strangler, and strangle that Elvish Visionary. Yes, please. See what response our opponent has. All right. Well, I'm not minding the Gate Creeper Vine. They do have a Shambling Vent though, so we're most likely facing Abzan control of some sort, with the Gate Creeper fixing mana there. At this point, I do think it is probably important to hold up our counter spells. However, we're still going to crash. Here comes the team. Continue to get our ingest going. Chooses to block, so our opponent does think their life total is worth preserving this early. Further strengthening my feeling that this is a control deck. I don't think I want to play my other Mist Intruder. I would much rather hold up both of my counters and also have a creature in hand in case of Languish. Acid Moss, well, we can't counter that because it's a sorcery. Horribly Awry only hits creatures, and Dispel only hits instants. Alright. Well, luckily we're not needing the black mana yet. Go ahead and continue to attack our opponent. Hopefully they don't get too far ahead of us before we're able to get into the meat of what we're trying to do. Go ahead and look at what we've ingested. Okay, not a ton of information there. Just what we already knew was going on. Question is this Abzan control or just Abzan ramp? As evidenced by the Monvuli Acid Moss there. Don't generally see Acid Moss in a control deck. Although you could. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and dispel that. Stop our opponent from ramping. And unfortunately, our Horribly Awry is not going to have a ton of targets that it can hit in what appears to be a ramp deck. So we will need to be countering Visionaries and Gate Creepers and things of that ilk. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. We will be playing Mist Intruder, I think, now. Which will still allow us to hold up Horribly Awry. Does our opponent have... Yeah, they've got 2 black, so they very well could have Languish. Still debating on whether or not... Yeah, I'm just going to hold a Mist Intruder. Thought I was going to play it. Don't think I'll take the risk. Alright, our opponent is at 7 mana. Quite a lot you can do at 7 mana. Okay, I'm going to counter this because I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of other targets that Horribly Awry can hit. Plus, I would like to prevent our opponent from drawing into an answer if they need to. Okay, I can't stop Angelic Edict anyway. Spell Shrivel's a nice draw. It's Spell Shrivel can definitely counter more than Horribly Awry can. We will continue to peck away at our opponent's life total. Take a look at what we ingest here. Is that... oh, complete disregard. So that's nice. Getting rid of some removal. And again, I'm going to just hold the Mist Intruder because I cannot play it and Spell Shrivel in at the same time. Just do not have enough mana at the moment. That Acid Moss was actually pretty bad for us. Luckily, we're not needing the black mana at the moment, but still. So our opponent's trying to counteract the loss of life here. Not horribly bothered with that at the moment, though if we don't get to the point that we can do something else, that Shambling Vent will definitely outrace us because we're not actually dealing damage now as long as that thing's attacking. Luckily we did draw an Evolving Wilds. We'll wait until our opponent's instep to use that so that we don't get our black source, which is definitely what I'm going to get, and get it acid mossed as well, though I do feel that if they had had a second Acid Moss in hand, that they would have gone ahead. And Mortar Morass is a great card to be ingesting. I feel they would have gone ahead and Acid Mossed our forest before now. That's not saying they couldn't go ahead and top deck it, though. This does seem to be a strange mix of control and ramp in what our opponent's playing here. It's like they've took an Abzan control deck and an Abzan or green-white ramp deck and put them together. I don't want Evo Leap out there. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and fetch at this point too because they can't cast Acid Moss off of 1 mana. And we are probably going to go ahead and Blight Herder this turn. That will hopefully stop the Shambling Vents from attacking, as well as prevent a sizable army on our side of the board. Will almost certainly trigger a Languish or a Planar Outburst from our opponent if they have it in hand. But I don't see that we can just sit back anymore. Go ahead and Blight Herder. I'm not going to cast the Mist Intruder though. Yes, thank you. Go ahead and put lands back in first, just in case they have recursion of some sort. We could cast the Mist Intruder off of an Eldrazi token. I don't want to do that. Again, I don't want to completely be blown out by a board wipe. Although even so, even with the Mist Intruder in our hand, a board wipe would be pretty bad for us at this point. Opponent continues. Yep, there is a Planar Outburst. Probably, I think they have enough to awaken. Yep. Interesting that they awakened onto this instead of the Shambling Vent. Oblivion Sower is a great top deck. Yeah, I think I will. Target you. Kind of sad I put lands back into their graveyard now. Yes, I want the lands. Go ahead and fetch. And I think I'll get another black source just in case. See what comes from the other side of the table. We've ingested a lot of their cards there. Opponent's down to 28 cards in their deck. With the life gain they've been doing, it may even be to the point that we deck our opponent this game, especially if we can resolve a Jace and flip it. So hopefully they do not have removal for this Oblivion Sower. They do have an Acid Moss though. Yep, and they go for a black source, so I'm glad I went ahead and fetched another black. We have the additional green source that we got from our opponent's deck there. And let's see. I do think we attack. 4, 5. They can do 7 back to us. Yeah, let's go ahead and attack. See if they choose to block. And they do. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and play Mist Intruder now. And I'm going to hold this land as a bluff. Don't really need it in play. I think the threat of something being in our hand is a bit more useful than a land that we can't make use of on the board. That's kind of what I was afraid of. I figured that Emiria Shepherd was going to be in there somewhere. Do they have a land to activate her this turn? If not, it's not quite as bad, though it's still pretty bad. Emiria Shepherd, some great recursion. So they do have a land. In fact, they've got 2 lands. So they play this, get something back to their hand, crack it, get a plains, and get something back into play. And we probably can't overcome this. We just were not able to get this done quick enough. Yep. There's Visionary. So is our opponent not going to crack that? What have they got they could get back? Oh, a Gate Creeper or a Visionary. Guess they're going to wait and see what we do. Alright. Kiora's may be okay. Don't want to... Yeah, that's fine. I think I'll do like that. Which I do want to attack, so I guess I want to attack first. The question is, when I play Kiora, whether I use her to untap Oblivion Sower or to try to get something off the top of the deck. Go ahead and cast her. Alright, so our opponent can swing for 10 damage here. If we untap Oblivion Sower, we can block 8 of it. So I guess we untap. Yeah. Untap. Sower and an island. And pass the turn. Now our opponent will crack their fetch land. Would really like it if they don't have any plains left in the deck, but that's not very likely. So chooses not to. Okay. Just going to save that for a more relevant thing to bring back, I suppose. Just for ever recurring Elvish Visionary, it seems. Okay, that's game. Yeah. We have lost. Ulamog has made his appearance, and he is going to stomp us. I don't think there's much at all we can do about it. So now we know for sure why our opponent did not crack this Evolving Wilds. We're not going to block. There's really no use in it. They want to make sure they can get Ulamog back if we somehow manage to get rid of him. in a way that's not exiling. Huh. Yeah. Our opponent can swing for 20 damage next turn. So there's no reason not to attack, because we definitely cannot keep ourselves alive. I'm not going to concede. I'm going to go ahead and let our opponent swing out for the win. Hopefully they won't take advantage of that fact by wasting a whole lot of time before the attack, but and they are. Please just swing and kill me. Thank you. Well, that didn't go as well as the first game, but hopefully the third will go a bit better, and I'll see you there. Okay. I would prefer a third land, but I think this is keepable, so let's go ahead and see if we can have a better outcome than our last game. Looks like mono red. At least we have a Mist Intruder to play, which will most likely die, and then that goblin will hit us in the face. But we have to make the effort. See if our opponent has a Twin Bolt or Fiery Impulse to clear the way here. Oh, so it's not mono red. Looking at Rakdos. And our intruder does indeed hold the Goblin Glory Chaser at bay. I'm quite happy about that. Alright, our opponent let us have our turn here. I'm going to go ahead and swing in. And we can drop our Benthic Infiltrator to try to continue keeping that Glory Chaser on defense. Does look like our opponent may be playing a bit of a suboptimal deck here. If I counted correctly, I think they're running 66 cards. And it's your choice if you want to do that. I do not recommend it. Looks like they're going to kill our intruder here. So, do I drop Nissa this turn? It's a good question. Our opponent, unfortunately, is taking a very long time to process pretty much every action on their turn. Alright, so we get a shot here. I think I just hold up Spell Shrivel. I think I stay on defense for the moment. I don't swing. And I hold up Spell Shrivel. Then next turn, we can potentially play Nissa or From Beyond. If we play Nissa, we could hold up Dispel. We could still hold up Dispel with From Beyond if... yeah, we're going to Spell Shrivel that because you don't have Spell Mastery. Okay. Block. No Real reason not to. Our opponent already played their land for turn. Unless I'm just really confused. If they hadn't, they could at this point drop a mountain and impulse our infiltrator to kill it. Okay. Alright, I'm actually pretty happy to have drawn a land. I think I'm just going to play From Beyond, leaving up a blue. That way we can dispel an instant if they cast it. And again, I'm going to stay on defense for at least the moment. Do not want this Glory Chaser to become renowned if I can prevent it. Okay, I can't dispel that guy. And he makes red sources deal 1 extra damage. Alrighty here. So again, I don't think I want to play Nissa yet, because next turn we can flip her. And I think I continue to just hold the fort. Would like to draw some removal at this point. Ob Nixilis would be really good. Okay, kind of figured that. I'm going to try to kill this Cullblade. Okay, we were successful in that. All right. Sack our Infiltrator to Flesh Bag. They chose to keep the Flesh Bag over the Glory Chaser. That's interesting. I guess with us producing a Scion every turn, that makes some sense. Right, we didn't draw the Forest, so that's good. Go ahead and play Nissa. Yes, I want to use that ability. Thank you. We will go ahead and flip our elven friend here. And plus her. Alright. And pass the turn. So we've got 8 lands now. We could, if our Scion doesn't die, which I'm going to definitely be blocking here. The question is, yeah, I think I activate Lumbering Falls. Yeah, like that. And I block both of these because I want Nissa to stick around. We'll lose the Lumbering Falls, but at least Nissa should stay alive. Yep. Okay. Let's go ahead and plus Nissa. We are holding Ulamog now. Okay. So now we don't want to block. I'm going to go ahead and fetch. We will fetch a blue source. Now we do not want to block with our Scion, because we can cast Ulamog next turn. Child of Night, okay. And Nissa will now perish, though she has been good for us. Hopefully, after we cast Ulamog, we are not immediately act of treasoned and smacked with him. Go ahead and get rid of these creatures. Let's see now what that last card that our opponent is holding. Hopefully not Act of Treason or Traitorous Instinct. Which wouldn't outright kill us, but would be very bad. It appears that's not the case, so that's good. Okay, Languish. It's a few turns late, but nice to have as a backup. Continue. See if we can't bring this game to a quick end. Alright, and we'll go ahead and cast Jace. May actually be relevant. Alright, there's the AI coming on. Our opponent conceded. But, alright, they do have a blocker. So we're going to have to swing 3 times. With Ulamog. I could have countered that. I was just caught up in thinking about how we're going to get through here. But it's okay. We can kill our opponent this turn with Wasteland Strangler. Removing the null there. Yes, please. And we will go to attack. And swing with Ulamog. Well, that will do it for this episode of Friday Night Magic. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like below. It really does help. Consider subscribing to the channel to be notified when I put up new content. And until next time, be excellent to each other.